Let's jump into this story here because I covered this yesterday. Where the Progressive Caucus, like, there was like a letter that came out or fucking some shit, who knows. Anyway, so here's an update to that. People are furious. That's a quote. Jayapal withdraws letter on Ukraine policy amid Democratic anger. So I covered this yesterday. If you want to know my position on this so-called letter, the letter is nothing. It means nothing. Like, let's just be, like, again, all of this, like, hoopla, it's manufactured outrage. There literally, none of this means anything. I'm going to be honest. I read the letter. It just says, we want Biden to pursue diplomacy wherever possible, but we know it's probably not possible. It's just virtue signaling. Like, it's just, yes, we want diplomacy, but we recognize that Russia's leader is a fucking crazy person. Wow. Well, like, hot take. You know what I mean? That's not a hot take. It's nothing. It means nothing. But, you know, again, it's being lied about in the media. It's being misrepresented by mainstream media, by a lot of, like, you know, these small, like, you know, independent quote-unquote news channels are like, you know, they're trying to hop on this and trend. Like, oh, look, they're anti-war, but they're pro-war, and it's all this stupid fucking cringy shit. I mean, it's embarrassing that we live in this kind of weird information economy where, like, lying about people or just like jumping on trends that are just like that are not even, like, it's just weird, right? Like, this is how people make money, is they just misrepresent someone's position. They lie about it, and then they make videos about it. Like, that's just, it's the economy that we live in. And it's sad, and it's dumb. And now, again, you can criticize their position if you want. But, I mean, like, again, read the letter. It means nothing. A House progressive leader abruptly withdrew a letter pushing the Biden administration to pursue diplomacy in Russia's war with Ukraine. Now, again, that's not really an accurate portrayal of what the letter is. Because the letter says, we want to pursue diplomacy wherever possible, and we want Biden to pursue diplomacy wherever possible, and we recognize he's been doing that, and we also recognize that Vladimir Putin is crazy and is a belligerent and is the one in the way. The letter means nothing. Like, I'm telling you, the letter is nothing. It doesn't mean anything, and this is a misrepresentation, right? Because it's showed in the media about they're trying to push Biden to shift the strategy, but they're not. They're not. They're just saying, like, yeah, we want diplomacy, which is what you're doing. Great job. Like, that's literally, you can read it. Like, that's the thing. Like, we live in this weird ass fucking world where it's like people are afraid to read. Like, it's like a fucking couple paragraph letter, right? But no one, like, people would rather read a headline about it and then talk on their shows for like an hour on cable or whatever it is, YouTube, whatever shows these people are doing. They're going to talk for hours without actually fucking reading the goddamn fucking source material. It's crazy shit. It's like we're doing like a 3-hour long movie review and you've only seen like the first like 38 seconds of the film, like, and it's the opening credits, like, you know, it's just like scrolling credits and like the camera's looking at clouds and shit, and you're like, wow, you know, this fucking movie really sucks, you know, and then you turn it off and then do like a 3-hour show about it. Anyway, an about face following furious internal backlash from Democrats who felt blindsided by the move just 2 weeks before the November midterms. And again, an about face. Like, what does that mean? It means, like, changing your mind. But the mind hasn't been changed. Jayapal hasn't changed a position. Like, from the initial invasion all the way up until now, Jayapal has had the same position. So has everyone that has signed on to this letter. They've had the same position from February 24th up until now. The letter is just virtue signaling. It doesn't mean anything. And again, you can read it yourself. The move by Representative Pramila Jayapal, the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, came after she released a letter initially signed in June. So Mark Pocan came out yesterday and said that it was signed in July, but now Jayapal is saying it was even earlier. So maybe it's Mark Pocan signed it in July, but it was initially, it was initially put out there in June. So from 30 liberals, and again, by liberals, they don't mean Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer. They mean leftists. They mean, progressives. That's what they mean when they say liberals. But again, we live in this weird world where, like, words don't have any definitions anymore. calling for more diplomacy, a move that appeared to undercut their party's resolute support for Ukraine. Releasing the letter this week was not endorsed by most of the members, and some said they would not sign it now, given how the war has turned in recent days. After Democratic fury began to emerge publicly, Jayapal contended the letter was released by staff without proper vetting and said it was improperly conflated her caucus's position with GOP divisions over providing more aid to Ukraine. Nowhere in the letter does it say that that we shouldn't vote for more funding. Nowhere in the letter. The letter is just like, again, I don't even know why they signed. I don't even know why they even did the thing in the first place. Like, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea why this thing even started up in the first place. But it seems to me like just a rogue staffer just like wanted to fuck around and boom, October surprise. That's what it seems to me. But again, we live in this weird ass world where like Democrats are mad at her. Like liberals, actual liberals, not leftists, not progressives, but liberals are mad. Liberals and conservatives in the Democratic Party are mad at the Progressive Caucus. Why? They have the same position. Pursue diplomacy wherever possible and support Ukraine's right to self-determination. That's the position in the letter. That's what's said in the letter. Right? Like, it's just, I don't even know, man. This whole thing. This shit is like these kinds of stories, and they pop up all the time where it's like it's a Rorschach test. You know? Like, there is no story. There is no news. There is no new information. It's just whatever you feel about these characters. And I'm going to be honest, I don't like Jayapal. I think Jayapal is a horrible leader. I think her political instincts are terrible. I think her strategy on politics is terrible. I don't like her. But, like, I'm not going to, like, project my dislike of her onto the story when that's not even, like, I don't, like, my dislike of Jayapal's politics and strategy has nothing to do with the fact that this letter is a nothing burger. So I don't know what to say about it other than that. But I want to read more of this because it really is entertaining. After Democratic fury began to emerge, I already read that. The Congressional Progressive Caucus hereby withdraws its recent letter to the White House regarding Ukraine. Jayapal, a Democrat from Washington State, said in a statement, the letter was drafted several months ago, but unfortunately was released by staff without vetting. As chair of the caucus, I accept responsibility for this. Now, again, I say the letter shouldn't have been signed or made in the first place because it doesn't mean anything. But I also understand, like, at the time, they wanted to virtue signal in some way. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, what? Right? Crazy shit. The public reversal. Now, again, it's not really a reversal because they signed and distributed the letter in June and July and then forgot about it. And then staff posted it like 4 months later, and their position is unchanged. There's no reversal. Like, that's the thing. Like, there is no reversal. Like, the reversal would be if, like, Jayapal in the letter said, like, we need to stop all funding for the Ukrainian Nazis, and then, like, Biden is starting World War III. And then she was like, oh, never mind, JK lol. That would be a reversal. But there is no reversal. There is no shift. There is, like, none. Whoo! People are furious, especially frontliners, said one senior House Democrat ahead of the letter being withdrawn, referring to most vulnerable members at risk of losing their seats in November 8th midterms. Now, again, why would they be mad at the Progressive Caucus instead of the staffer who leaked it, or, I don't know, Republicans who are the ones that are really actually against funding Ukraine aid, right? Again, this is just another made-up, fictional fucking reason for liberals to attack progressives. That's just how it is. That's just what we're dealing with. And it's hilarious, honestly, that this is the way our society functions. Democrats argue that the ill-timed letter undercut the party's position, showing resolute support for Ukraine. But how? Like, again, how? Why? How? Right? If you look at the letter and come out of reading that thinking, oh, Jayapal is against funding Ukraine, you're an idiot. The only way you would think that is if you clicked on an article, like CNN's article yesterday that I reviewed, saying that Jayapal is asking Biden to shift Ukraine strategy. That is not in the letter. At no point, June, July, August, September, this month, did Jayapal ask Biden to shift any Ukrainian strategy. That never existed. It's not in the letter. So the only reason why you'd be upset at them is if you fell for right-wing disinformation on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, any other of these outlets. They just posted disinformation. They just lied about what the fucking letter is. And now liberals are attacking progressives because, oh, it's in the media. We got to. It's just like, again, it blows my mind. It really does. Like, this is like some real, like, and I hate to say this, not really.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
It's just, timing in diplomacy is everything, said California Representative Sarah Jacobs, a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus to Jayapal leads. I signed this letter on June 30th, but a lot has changed since then. I wouldn't sign it today. Wisconsin Representative Mark Pocan, former leader of the Progressive Caucus who signed the letter in July, told CNN he found it puzzling it was sent out this week after he signed it. It's an October surprise. It's not a puzzle. This isn't fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're trying to solve the fucking goddamn necklace puzzle, right? It's an October surprise. Someone in the staff wanted to fucking dunk on the progressives, and they posted the letter. This isn't, what the fuck, man? Like, are these how is Mark Pocan this fucking stupid? How is Jayapal this fucking stupid? Why don't they fucking defend themselves? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, Jesus fucking goddamn Christ. Like, this is embarrassing. Now, again, we talk about Jayapal's leadership being horrible. Now, I will say this. I don't like her leadership. Her politics are okay, but, without strategy, your politics really mean nothing. Again, this is another L for Jayapal. It's an L that her staff posted this letter. That's an L. You should have had that on lock. It's an L that you even made the letter to begin with, because in June, July, whenever, it doesn't really matter. It's a stupid fucking virtue signaling piece of garbage. It doesn't actually mean anything. That's an L, right? And then the way she handled this crisis, giant fucking L. Instead of just saying, hey, the letter is being misrepresented and they're lying about it and this is an October surprise and they're just trying to do a gotcha, everything's fine, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. But also, at the same time, is it possible for her to even get a W when you have the media that responds like this? Is it possible to even win with this fucking kind of outrage in the mainstream media that just farms outrage clicks? Gotta click on this so that we can watch an ad, so that we can see what, again, this fucking world just blows my mind. Puzzling. Fucking puzzling. It's not what's the puzzle? This is like a 3-piece puzzle, right? Like a jigsaw puzzle. Imagine you have 3 pieces and it's like a straight line. Right, there are all corner pieces. This is not a fucking puzzle, right? What the fuck? Okay. The letter signed by Jacobs and 29 other Democrats praised President Joe Biden's efforts supporting Ukraine while avoiding direct U.S. involvement on the ground. But they suggested a more forceful attempt to bring the war to an end through diplomacy is necessary to prevent a long and slogging conflict. They suggested to do more diplomacy, but then also acknowledge, are they going to say this? Let's find out. Quote, given the destruction created by this war for Ukraine and the world, as well as the risk of catastrophic escalation, we also believe it is in the interest of Ukraine, the United States, and the world to avoid a prolonged conflict. No shit. Again, virtue signaling. It's virtue signaling. No fucking shit. No, 100% of everyone involved, other than Vladimir Putin, wants to end the war. I don't know why, again, it's a virtue signaling. It doesn't mean anything. You shouldn't have written it in the first place. The group led by Jayapal read in the letter, for this reason, we urge you to pair the military and economic support with the United States provided to Ukraine with a proactive diplomatic push, redoubling efforts to seek a realistic framework for a ceasefire. Which, again, they're already fucking doing. They're already doing this. Again, this lie that, Joe Biden is a nefarious puppet master who's trying to get, Ukraine to fight Russia for 20 years, as an extended proxy war to, destroy Russia. Now, again, some people in the U.S. government absolutely believe that. Some people in the U.S. government absolutely strive for that. That's no question. But there's really no indication that the U.S., official policy is, we want this war to last as long as possible. There's no indication of that whatsoever. And also, again, the belligerent is Vladimir Putin. The U.S. is not involved in this war other than funding defensive weaponry for Ukraine to defend itself. The U.S. is not, I'm sorry, they don't have a seat at the table. No one has a seat at the table other than Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin invited Zelensky to sit at the table and then had a hit squad try to assassinate him and he couldn't even get there, right? So, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is not, Jesus. For this reason, again, but are they going to mention that also in the letter that they acknowledge that Vladimir Putin is the belligerent and it is unlikely to do anything anyway? Are they going to mention that in this article, or are they just going to leave that part of the letter out? After Democratic backlash intensified over the letter, Jayapal clarified their position, saying they maintain unequivocal commitment to supporting Ukraine and were supportive of the Biden administration's strategy. Again, the letter is virtue signaling, and it's being lied about in the media. Like, blowing my mind. At least one Democrat was ready to defend the effort Tuesday to engage in diplomacy with Russia. Representative Rokan of California, who signed the letter, told CNN's Biana Golodryga, I've never heard of her, he did not support Jayapal's decision to rescind the letter. I think the letter was common sense, kind of said, I support making sure we arm Ukraine and provide arms to Ukraine and continue to fund it, but I also believe that the president, as he said, we are at risk of nuclear war. Don't you think our counterparts should be talking to Russia? Of course they should be. And, of course, they should, to be sure that it doesn't escalate. I mean, again, there's no indication that the U.S. is not talking to Russia, right? Like, Russia is not fucking picking up the phone. I don't know. You know, like... But also, again, Rokan is right on this. Jayapal shouldn't have rescinded the letter. Why would you rescind it? It doesn't... Like, again, like, the L's that Jayapal is stacking on top of it, like, it's ridiculous. Like, horrible strategy. Let's stand with Ukraine, but let's also support diplomacy. Again, and everyone agrees with that. Liberals agree with that. Progressives agree with that. Conservatives in the Democratic Party, for the most part, agree with that. This is not controversial. There is no controversy. Right, but Democrats are professional losers. Like, we need to understand this. Right, like 2 weeks before an election, Democrats would rather yell at each other than talk about Republicans who actually want to defund the war, or rather the defensive weaponry packages to Ukraine. And they do actually want Russia to take over Ukraine. Right, that's an actual threat. But instead, they'd rather yell at each other, even though they all agree. They all agree, but they're yelling at each other over optics. But, like, can't you do that privately? Why do you have to go on the fucking TV to yell at each other over optics? Like, I mean, seriously. Fuck. Right? Fuck. This is some stupid-ass shit. So you can read the rest of this. I don't know. I think I've said everything I need to say on this regard. But, I mean, man, this is, again, this just proves that Americans are fucking stupid. One, Americans are fucking stupid. This way, this information clickbait outrage economy, it's not working. It's not working. Right? When it's more profitable to lie about someone's beliefs, then people are going to lie about their beliefs, right? And that, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This shit's crazy. The letter L, signing the letter L, distributing the letter initially L, right? The letter itself written and how it's written L. Doesn't mean anything, right? Not keeping it in-house, L. Rescinding it, L. It's just L's all on board. But again, every side of this, giant fucking L's. The liberals that are going after them for no reason, L, right? Like, Rokana is probably the most logical or most rational out of this one. He's saying, yeah, why rescind the letter? They're lying about it. Like, of course we support Ukraine. Like, that's just the way to go about it. So, I mean, the rare Rokana W in this one. But, I mean, like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it's just embarrassing. To be an American is embarrassing. It's infinitely embarrassing. Like, you know, like if you invite someone over your house and like your mom's a fucking freak, you know, and you just feel embarrassed. You know, has anyone ever been in this situation where they've got like a fucked up like family scenario and they don't want to invite anyone over their houses, you know, but sometimes it happens and then they're just like, you know, like, don't worry about them. You know, they're a freak, you know. That's what I feel like, but every time I leave the house, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to just be in this country, to be around these people that are just so fucking stupid, to watch like these dumbass motherfuckers on YouTube, these dumbass motherfuckers on cable, these dumbass motherfuckers on Facebook, Twitter, all others. Everyone's a dumb fuck motherfucker. They're so fucking stupid. But again, nuanced perspectives on these kinds of things, they don't get the clicks. No one's going to click on this. Why? Because I'm not outraged. I am, I guess, a little bit outraged. But, like, no one's going to click on this video. This video is not going to get served up in the algorithm to millions of people that are watching all these fucking stupid-ass fucking news segments, right? Like, no one cares about nuance. Nuance is dead, motherfucker. Like, to just have an honest reading of reality is not profitable, and therefore, it's nowhere represented in media that anyone can find. Like, how does someone find my show? How? Like, I don't know. They're not watching cable and then they're finding my show. They're not watching like cable news clips and then they're finding my show. How do people find my show? They like watch and subscribe to like 12 other progressive YouTubers, and as a result, sometimes maybe one of my videos will be showing up in their algorithm like in 10th place. That's the only way people fucking find my show. Why? Because I'm not fucking doing like clickbait fucking like the Democratic Party's pro-war. Like, I'm not doing this fucking stupid garbage. Why? Because it's fucking stupid. But everywhere you see, the most popular shit is fucking stupid. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. So, in conclusion, everyone is dumb except me. Thank you. So anyway, that's the first segment of the show.